Hey, yo, welcome back to the Pac-Man special. It's your boy Pac-Man back at it again, back with another video. And this video is the new to my channel called the I'm Sayin podcast. You feel me? And the person that I have with me is my co-host, Carlos Saron, my I'm Sayin brother. As you can see, we got them on sleeves. Carlos is top 32 player from Nats and the best Georgia player in the state of Georgia. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Carlos.
I'm Sayin. Appreciate you having me on here, Pac. What's up, guys? Carlos Cerrone, as he said, player for the Card Guys, and yeah, I mean, I've been playing Dofi for these past couple of sets. I think it's just been best deck in the format.
Best deck in the format.
And Pac, you've been playing it since OPO1.
Yeah.
So I know that has a special place in your heart.
Super special, dude. Super special.
Super. Yeah, but I mean, nationals in Florida, insane experience. We grinded that mirror match, so
I feel like I had a part in your top though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We just play tested so much. We talked concepts. We ran the same 49.
49.
He had to run the one rush Usopp.
Yep. Oh.
I couldn't. I was too scared. I don't want to do that.
It got me one game. I'm just gonna say. I'm saying it got me one game. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I'm saying. But yeah, and I mean, you know, we meta-called. I thought that there was going to be a lot of Shanks, so I ran 2 Red Rock, and I was the only person day 2, top 32, that had a Red Rock in their deck.
I didn't know that.
I didn't play against Shanks, unfortunately, so the Red Rock kind of bricked me when I played against Purple Luffy. I Red Rocked his 9-mom, but the value just wasn't really there.
Right.
And I ended up losing, so that was my top 32. But I mean, it was still a great weekend anyway. All the testing was worth it.
Okay.
And yeah, you know, it's just the grind to continue to get better and then get to top 8.
Bro, I was so even though I didn't perform the way I wanted to perform at Nats, I was still in so much joy because you were performing, and it was like you said, we grinded that matchup so much, and I got to see my deck perform and by you, and it was great because you hit me up about it, and you was like, hey, what do I do here? How do I play this deck? And I just gave you everything I knew about it. So kudos to you, man. You deserve everything, and I can't wait to see what you bring to the future of this game, you know, because you're a grinder, and like you grind, you talk concepts and all the time. I think we talk almost every day about something. There's something we talk about, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's no secret. I'm excited to bring that to the I'm Sayin podcast. Just have different things to talk about. I mean, maybe this will be for another video, but you know, we're cooking Usopp right now. We're trying to make those concepts work.
For sure.
Yeah, but I mean, go ahead and tell them what we're talking about today, actually.
All right, so topics for today. We're gonna do a little quick recap for One Piece Day, because we just got back from that. That was a very dope experience, by the way. Then we're gonna do predictions for the ban list, right? And we have a few cards on this list that are pretty obvious, you know, worth mentioning. Pretty obvious. Some stuff that people are complaining about in the community. Some stuff people are not complaining about in the community. And after that, we're gonna do a prediction tier list based on what we say gets banned. So this is not saying that, you know, this ban list is a true like a hard staple, because we don't know. The ban list comes out this weekend, so we'll see. We'll definitely see that. I'm gonna be watching Worlds. I'm live stream it. Well, no, I'm not gonna live stream it, but I'm gonna watch the live stream because I don't know if I'll even be home watching it because I got things to do. But that's neither here nor there. But that's basically what the podcast is gonna be about, and we'll go from there. So with that being said, let's talk about One Piece Day. The biggest announcement from One Piece Day, simultaneous release, dude. How do you feel about that? 2026 is coming.
That's huge. I think that's great because I've been preaching it since I played the game. I have never been a fan of net decking. You know, I have never. Every time I pick up a deck, I like to just pick it up from scratch. And I think, you know, that's how my techs are born.
Right.
Because I think this is good. I want to try it out.
Right.
I play test it. It doesn't work. all right, we go back to square one.
Yeah.
You know, so every time I build a deck and I might win in a mirror match, they're like, you know, what are you running? Whose list are you running? And I'm like, I'm not really running someone's list, but this is my 50.
Right.
And then we talk about it, we go over it, and they're like, oh man, no one's running this. This is new.
This is new. Right.
So it's always good to do that. And I think that now that we're going to be together with Japan, now we're all going to have to put our brains together, and we're actually going to have to come up with stuff from scratch.
Because like the biggest thing that the biggest thing that I always saw was that Japan created the meta, we broke the meta, right? Because we'll find the deck that beats the best deck that comes over there, and then that becomes a new thing, and then it's like, all right, cool, Japan saw what we did, then we'll do what they did, and it's just back and forth, right? And now we're just going to be on that same page, and I can't wait. I'm just curious, when in 2026 will it be? At the beginning? Will it be at the end? I don't know. Bandai's definitely trying to put all their card games on simultaneous release, and that was the beauty that I had with when I played Dragon Ball Masters. As those sets come out, we create new decks right then and there. It's not like something, hey, I have another country to look at to net deck or anything. Like, deck building is a true staple of card games, and I truly love that. So, what did you play at One Piece Day?
So One Piece Day, we ran it back with Dofi.
Okay.
You know, I didn't feel like I needed to change decks. So you know, I just wanted to stay hot. I've been playing Dofi for what, 4 to 5 months now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to stick with it.
Since the starters came out or before?
I would say when the starters came out.
Okay.
I picked it up and I stuck with it.
Okay.
So that's like good 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months. That's about right. 3 to 4 months.
So I've just been running that deck against all the matchups. I remember we proxied Shanks, we proxied Blackbeard, and we were playing that before.
Right.
That set came out, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I played Dofi for One Piece Day. It was kind of unfortunate, so I went X3.
Mm-hmm.
I went 85th place, Pod B, day 2.
Mm-hmm.
I waitlisted day 1. I didn't get in, so unfortunate. But yeah, so my 3 losses, just to go over that briefly. I lost to Bonnie, round 3. It was a Cavendish Carrot, and he put me on the Gravity Blade, and I didn't have it. So after that, it was just 10 drop Dofi, swing Carrot, swing Cavendish, has a Dawn up,
freeze. Oh, board.
4 characters frozen, so that's just auto loss to go next.
Mm-hmm.
And then round 6 and 7, I played Mirror Match, and again, I lost the dice roll. You want to go second, in my opinion. I went first both times, and I had Teach, which is great, but I didn't really have like card advantage.
Right.
I'm going Teach, Jinbei plus, and even still, I have like 3 cards in hand.
Right.
My opponent has 7 cards because when you go first, you're attacking their life.
Right.
When they go second, they're attacking that rested Jinbei or rested whatever.
Right.
So they have more hand size, and then you just lose from there.
Right.
So I don't know. I lost those 2, and those were my 3 losses in total.
Right.
But it was actually interesting because I was thinking about Bonnie. I was like, man, that deck was just doing really well, and I've always liked the deck, but I've stayed away from it because of Lucci.
Right.
And it's crazy because in all 9 rounds, I didn't play a single Lucci.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually looking at my matchups, and I feel like if I played Bonnie, I would have done very well.
Okay.
So
Bonnie, your new sleeper possibly for OP10?
That's what I'm thinking. I think it should do really well.
Okay. Well,
yeah, that was Dallas for me. So.
Dallas for me? Not as good. I was in.
You got to play both days.
Yeah, I did get to play both days, so I was happy about that. Got the double participation. So didn't pull anything too crazy out of double participation except the all art croc, the 7-drop, and it got bought out that weekend. So I kind of made a little bit of money on it. So I was happy about that. Now day 1, I was in Pod B. I decided to play Gecko Moria, aka Black Mingo, Black Dofi. And every time I put it on the table, like for real, like people were just mind blown by it. And I kind of talked concepts about it with you, and I was running it by you, and you was like, it makes sense. Now can it work? The deck performed. The issue was I lost to basically RNG of card games. So four of my 4 losses were all by very little. So 1 game by 2K, 2 games by 1K, and then the 4th game was a Red Hawk trigger. So, and that was brutal, bro. I low key wanted to flip the table, dog, but it was just like, it happens, right? I mathematically had lethal on board, and the fact that I calculated that and I fought through 2 shanks, like 2 10-drop shanks, and I was like, it's legit the only one he can have, and he already saw 2, so I was just like, will it be there? And it was there. And then I played the last round. The last round I was already low key tilted, and I saw a nail star me and did a nail things and high rolled. So I was like, yeah, kudos to a nail. So a nail's my annoying deck pick. I love the deck. I think it's a good deck, but it is the most annoying deck because it had trigger after trigger after trigger. So I played with 10 life that game too.
I mean, it's a debate of my existence. It just blows everything that I play up
right.
for free.
So it is arguably Dofi's worst matchup. Day 2 I played Dofi. I could not give my boy not the last ride, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm gonna play Dofi the second day because it was the last OP09 event. So I played Dofi. I went X3. It was first 3 rounds. No, actually, first 3 rounds were mirrors. I lost the first 2. I won the 3rd. I lost every dice roll. Like, the universe, in a sense, was against me. I lost every dice roll all weekend. I don't recall winning a single dice roll all weekend. So,
that's crazy.
So it's like I couldn't really choose like how to dictate my matches, and the only thing I can hope was, just play my game. And I played my game, and I felt like I played to the best of my ability. It's just, sometimes card games is just not on your side. So, but we're in the grinder, moving forward. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about OP10. But before we dive into OP10, we got to talk about this ban list, right?
Right.
So, all right, with this ban list, we got a few cards here, and obviously the first card of choice is my all-time favorite deck, Dofi. All right, the king, dog, best villain of OP. He's best deck, dog. I don't care what anybody say. This is the best deck in the format. It is the gatekeeper that you have to build around, because if not, all the other decks are kind of gonna run a little bit rabbit or whatever. So, with that being said, I think he's gonna get axed. He is consistent with aggression and control. He plays out free bodies off the top of the deck. The deck is a second hand, arguably, and I think the only way to fix this deck is to get rid of the leader. What do you think?
Yeah, I will say, I don't think it needs to get banned entirely, but I do know that Bandai does a good job of just banning the leader outright. We had Whitebeard leader banned, we have RP Law banned, and we have Sakazuki banned.
Right.
So I think it's just an easy get him out of the way kind of style.
Yeah.
And just work the meta out from there.
Okay.
So I think it's a quick solution.
Okay.
Do I think they can work around it? Absolutely.
100%.
We just talked about it. And Nell destroys our deck.
Yep.
Any yellow deck, really. Nico Robin runs the same egghead cards that just blow up everything.
Yep.
That can be a very bad matchup.
And it gets support next set. So Nico Robin, that is.
Exactly. So just decks that can control our board and starve us out of resources, they'll just win.
Right.
So I think it can get checked.
Okay.
It can get checked. We look at Teach next set with Liberation Kuzan. And it's supposed to be a free win, but I've seen very great Teach players beating Dofi, like it's no problem.
Right. I mean, Orion's grinded that matchup a ton, right? And he feels very confident in the matchup, playing against the Dofi. So
I'm OP10.
Yeah, in OP10. So that is a true thing. I don't want the leader to get banned, but I just have a feeling that it will be because of the community. The community is talking about it a lot. They want the deck to get hit in some way, form, or fashion. And the way that they truly wanted to get hit is by hitting all the SRs, and Bandai doesn't really do SR hits because they want to continue to sell product. And if you hit SRs, that limits buying product, so they don't want to lose money out on that. But that leads us into our next card that would check Dofi in our sense, right? And that would be Teach, right?
Yes, sir. I agree.
So,
Um,
you want to go first, or you want me to take it?
go for it.
All right. So, I said this since this card got revealed. This was the most broken card in the starter deck. Everybody in One Peach, not everybody, because you're in One Peach, but everybody in One Peach was like, "You're crazy. This is a -1. This doesn't do much for the deck." People were like, "Maybe you run it at 1 or 2," and I was like, "No, this is an automatic 4. This guarantees my leader ability every single turn." Because a lot of times before, when I played Dofi, especially in the OP808 meta, I actually built the Dofi deck to beat BY because BY was the best deck. And I would have to shoot blind so many times, right? I have to rely on seeing Peronas. I have to rely on seeing the 3-drop Dofi to fix my top 5. Whereas Teach, I put it there and I'm always going to hit. I go first. I play Teach on 3, on my 3 Dawn. It's free. You know what I'm saying? We put it there, and then, you know, Jinbei Weevil, draw a card, and just go crazy, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this Teach. It just allows you to extend so much further. And I think that if you take Teach away, it knocks the consistency of the deck down. Will the deck still do what it does? 100%. But it will have to rely on seeing more Peronas. I think 3-drop Dofi may come back into the deck and just take that spot for Teach, and that way we can always see our top 5 and go from there. So it's the most consistent piece in the deck, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, and just going off of that, I definitely think that they are not going to ban or restrict any cards that will also be played in Boa. So you look at cards like Jinbei, Law, potentially Weevil, potentially Boa Blocker.
Right.
They're just not going to affect those cards because then Boa is probably just going to be like unable to play. It's just going to be unplayable.
Right.
So Teach is the only card that's just not played in that deck. So
100%. Right.
It'd be a fair hit. I think it'd be a fair hit. Just kind of slow the deck down, like you said, make it a little more inconsistent. You got to shoot blind, and when you see that Sengoku on top,
or that Jozu.
Or that, yeah, I mean, so many cards now, right?
Yeah.
So it gives your opponent a little more breathing room to come back into the game. So I think it'd be a fair hit.
Right. Now, this was so funny about Teach. In one of the mirrors I had, me and my opponent, we both missed on Teach in the early game, and we both had to shoot blind, and we both missed. So it can happen. It definitely can happen. And at that point, Dofi becomes a pilot dependent deck and not a deck that's just gonna get you there, right? All right, so Teach was my pick to get Axe before the leader, but I think the leader is gonna get Axe first.
Exactly.
The next card, or we're gonna move into black, and there's no red or green on our ban list right now, because red and green hasn't been great in a very long time. So we're going to go to our next card, which is Ice Age. Ice Age is arguably one of the most talked about cards because this card came out in OP02, and it's a 4 of in every black deck except Teach. Because Teach is not your typical black deck.
And it was ran in there at a point.
It was ran in there at a point. So being able to -5 something for 1 Dawn, there's no other card in the game that does that. This card has no drawback. If people say it's a -1, I don't think it's a -5 for 1, in my opinion. And then just being able to clear so many things, you could reach so much further. In Lucci, this is a -6. In Gecko, depending on if you decide to use leader ability to play the Perona and they have 5 or more cards in hand, this is a -8 for 4 Dawn, essentially. So it's just a matter of like, does this get hit? I don't see it getting hit because I think if you take this away from black, they can't deal with big bodies, and once you go tall on them, they just lose, right? But I can also see it getting hit because it is one of the most cheapest minus in the game. What do you think?
For sure, no. I definitely think it's a fair hit because if they ban Ice Age, Now they're still keeping Rebecca. They're still keeping Gecko.
Mm-hmm.
They're still keeping all these other cards that are, in the run for getting affected.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're gonna have to work a little more for their reduction, but there's plenty of cards that do that. You have the Nico Robin that came in the structure deck,
Right.
6 cost, 7,000 on play when attacking, gives something -5.
Yeah, it has on play too, right?
That's basically, yeah, on play when attacking.
Yeah.
Give -5, and that's basically your next Ice Age.
Right.
That's a body.
Right.
Which is insane.
It's
right?
insane.
So that's a quick substitution.
Right.
Obviously,
and it has counter.
It's a 1K counter as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think, that would shy. I don't think banning Ice Age would shy away black players from playing black. It's not gonna be unplayable.
Right.
But I think that they're gonna have to work for it a little more because, against any deck, just a simple Ice Age Gecko combo gets you back in the game.
Right. And
if Goofy gets hit, then black is probably just gonna be on top now.
Right.
Like,
for a very long time, I think black is like, excuse me. I think black will basically take over the meta if Dofi's gone. Especially Blackbeard. I think we go into a Blackbeard meta. I think Blackbeard instantly goes tier 0.
tier 0.
Now, with that being said, if Ice Age doesn't go, another black card, I'm stepping into the SR realm, and it's Rebecca. Rebecca has been a pain of the existence of everybody that doesn't play Rebecca. Being able to Rebecca Hinaluchi, that was the first combo. Now we have Rebecca Spandine Lucci, right? And that's insane. I get a blocker and a body and 2 bodies, and if I have the Spandine in hand, I can pick up a 2K, play the Spandine, yeah, so it just generates so much value, and then this off of Gecko generates so much value. Do you think that Bandai will finally decide to hit SRs or no? I mean, I know I just said earlier. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think this is just going to be one of those like conversation pieces because this card generates so much value.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think that it's going to get affected because I mean, you have, like you said, you have all those combos, but when you take out Rebecca, which is almost a 4 of in any other
black deck,
like structured black deck, let's not teach.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely playable, so I think they're probably not gonna touch it.
Okay. So Rebecca, you might be safe again, and especially because your Dressrosa set's about to come out. So the next SR is Gecko. I think Gecko is fine. I think Gecko is not getting touched at all. I think with the cards that we've seen coming out in OP10, EBO1, and the new big bad is going to be Sanji in OP11. So I think Gecko's fine. More decks are not playing Gecko moving forward. And like the tier 1 black deck or the best black deck is Blackbeard, and it can't play it because it has an on play. Like they're not gonna play an 8-9 vanilla. Like you can do so much more for 8 Don in that deck. So I think Gecko's fine, and I know this is a brief moment. I don't know if you have anything to say on Gecko because it is probably the same thing as you said as about Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean not too much on it. I think the biggest thing is they missed their ban on Gecko. I think Gecko should have been banned earlier.
Or leader locked.
Or leader locked, exactly. But I mean, yeah, I think if you ban Gecko now, it's just too late. It's kind of like a cope, in my opinion.
Right.
I feel like there's just no point.
And the best deck that plays Gecko is BY Luffy, and that's my honorable mention. He can go. BY Luffy can go. As much as I love the deck too, because I was thinking about moving on to that deck next if Dofi gets hit, because I'm actually going to start jamming a lot of OP10. As you said earlier, we've been jamming Usopp already and trying to figure that out. But yeah, I think Gecko's fine. I think Gecko's gonna be around for a while, and plus this art is too dope, to be in my binder and not be played in a deck. So, the most controversial card. You ready?
I'm ready.
Gum Gum Giant. As a purple player, and that dabbles into it, because you play Black Purple Luffy, you play RP Luffy, you played Poofy. So, do you think this card is ban worthy?
I think it's ban worthy, but is it going to? Probably not. Why? Because I feel like the ability that so many other decks have, right? Like, let's think of Dofi, for example. You have Perfume, Teach Effect, Swing 17.
Broken.
Unblockable, right? Gum Gum Giant is one of the only cards that will get you to counter out of that.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, if people are complaining, man, what are you going to do about Teach Effect, Perfume Teach Effect? Double Gum Gum Giant. I have it.
Right.
You know, you gotta have it too.
100%.
You run the, if you're playing, like, let's say if you're playing Purple Black Luffy or Purple Luffy, you're gonna run the 1 cost law.
Right.
And
100%.
the 1 cost law bottom decks Gum Gum Giant too.
Yep.
So, you know, you might not always have it.
Right.
And if you have the Dawn up, you have to leave the Dawn up. If you want to play a 9 cost, you leave the Dawn up, or if you're on your 9 Dawn turn, you have to leader effect to get the Dawn back.
Right.
So you have to work for Gum Gum Giant. It's not always free.
Right.
Right. And so, especially me playing Purple Black Luffy, if I want to play, you know, Ice Age 9-drop Kaido, Dawn -5, I'll be on 7 next turn. Or I get to 7, and then next turn I'll be on 9.
Yeah.
Again, if I want to hold one up for Gum Gum Giant,
I go down to 7.
I can't double down, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and so I feel like there's just no way that these purple decks are going to survive in the late game if they don't have a card of this caliber.
100%.
I don't think it's going to get hit either.
100%. I think Gum Gum Giant is going to be fine. The thing about Gum Gum Giant is that the best time to use it is when you're at 10 Dawn, and yes, all purple decks do get to ramp, but being able to use Gum Giant and draw into 2/2Ks is a thing that rarely happens. It doesn't happen consistently. As you said, is it ban worthy? 100%. I think it won't get touched until OP11, because the deck that abuses it the most is RP Luffy. I mean, not RP Luffy, Blue Purple Luffy.
Green purple.
Yeah, your green purple and blue purple. So EBO2 and which is green purple, and then OP11, not OPO. OP11 with the blue purple Luffy. I think those 2 decks abuse it the most. But again, the reason why I don't want this card to get touched, purple just got this toy, and it brought purple from arguably being one of the worst colors to, you know, the forefront to be right, to putting it into contention, right? So it reminds me of when Whitebeard used to hold up all this Dawn and go Rad Beam, Rad Beam, Rad Beam. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't get to -2 Dawn, draw 2 cards with the double Rad Beams or whatever, but having Rad Beam 1 Dawn for 4, people cried about that then. It never got touched. So, and
because I mean, what do you do? What do you do with that, right?
Right.
You have four cards in hand, 4 Dawn active. Cool. 6 at life. 6 at life.
Right.
6 at life. You can work around it. You just poke them down until they have to give you the Rad Beams, right?
Right.
But it's the same thing with Gum Gum Giant. You have 2 cards in hand, 5 at life. Are you going to use the Giant or give me the other card?
Yeah.
If other cards a brick, you have to give me the Giant.
Right. 100%.
And if it's 1K, now you can't use the Giant because you have to pitch a card. It has a high cost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair card.
Okay, so with that being said, out of all the cards that you saw here, or at least that we've talked about today, what do you think is getting hit? Truly getting hit. What is your call?
Getting hit. Bandai is putting our King Blue Dofi to rest and banning Ice Age.
R.I.P. Dofi. It's okay. I got green purple. Let's go. I got green purple to go to, and I'm gonna cook with that too. So I have a few ideas. I actually want to run by you later. Maybe we'll save that for another video. But okay, I agree. I agree. I hate to say it, but I agree. I think those 2 cards are getting hit. And one other card to mention, I already mentioned BY Stage from Teach. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Full of lead. Yeah, full of lead. So maybe that's my honorable mention. It takes the consistency away and makes them pay for their search using Lafitte. Because I've seen a lot of decks cutting Lafitte down to 2 and just running for the stages, because the stage helps fuels the Burgesses, whereas Lafitte just bottom decks the cards. So those are my things. I think those are gonna get hit the most. But with that being said, I think it's time to talk about this tier list. You feel me? So with those two or those three things getting hit, or
yeah, let's do those three.
So let's do those three. So Teach loses stage. Dofi's gone. And Ice Age is gone. Those are the three things, and we're gonna build a tier list based on that. All right. So S tier. I think that if Dofi gets gone, I'm gonna start it off. I think if Dofi is gone, I think Blackbeard's just skyrockets, right? I think Blackbeard becomes the new gatekeeper. And we'll have to deal with that. So we'll call this the gatekeeper tier.
I agree.
All right. So gatekeeper.
Love that.
All right. So I think he becomes the gatekeeper because he gets all the new tools, and he really only gets 3 cards. He gets Liberation, he gets the Kuzan, which has probably arguably the most beautiful alt art in the game, and
I need those 4.
You and me both, brother. And he gets these 3-drop Shiryu that pops a 3. I think that's worth playing. I have seen that pop in and out a few decks, but those are really the 3 cards. There's one other card is a Jesus Burgess that gains rush, but I don't think you play it at all ever in this deck because you're not trying to rush down or be aggressive in this deck. So Blackbeard is the new gatekeeper. You want to take a shot at something on this list?
So I just based on my experience of playing the game, I feel like die-hard Lucci fans are just gonna keep trying, you know.
All right.
Even though Blackbeard's there, it's gonna be like Teach's now because Teach still surprisingly did really well in Dallas.
Yeah, Teach did really well.
You know
I think there was
and their only bad matchup is Dofi.
Right.
So with that same mindset, if Lucci's only bad matchup is Teach, you know, it's still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Okay. I like that. And you think Lucci would be tier A?
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
Because if we're saying that, you know, if Ice Age gets hit, like we said, they can come up with some fancy new tech. Probably just make some more reduction.
Gotcha.
I think it's still fair play. What do you think?
I think it's still. I 100% think it's still fair play. I think BY will be right above it though, slightly because it is Lucci's worst matchup.
Worst matchup.
Right. So BY in front of Lucci, BY is gonna do what BY does, right? And I think it has the same 40 to 45 cards in every deck, and then it's like, what tech choices do you want? Do you want Violas? Do you want the Nami? Do you want the Ivankov? Do you want the Rygos, right? I honestly think Rygo has become a staple in the deck, so I think it might play more Rygos to deal with Teach to be able to.
I think Rygo will come back. I know, like for these last couple tournaments, people started taking it out and they started adding new cards like I Have My Crew. But now with the Liberation KOs a 6 and a 4 base.
Right.
Right, exactly. So I think they're gonna take the I Have My Crew out and put the Rygos back in.
Okay. I actually have a contender here. This is a hot take, and I think Buggy comes from the depths of D tier and moves into A tier, because we do get our promo finally, which is a 7 cost, and then against Teach, if Teach decides to play, you know, their new gate, or not even the gate, or use their effect, right? I just play a 10 drop by discarding a card. Now I have a 10-12 body on the field, right? And it's like, all right, deal with this 10-12, and I can play it as early as turn 5, my 5 turn on turn 3. So like that's pretty disgusting, and it's like there's no way for you to get around it without being able to establish your Van Augers and you know, your Don Qs, or even, you know, having the ability to minus it. So I do think this becomes a contender. And on top of that, if Ice Age does get hit, you're not clearing my big bodies.
Right. Yeah, because you can go the Crocodile into 5 costs, right?
Yep.
7 to 5.
Well, so I can go Crocodile into any other 5, and then I can also go the new promo Buggy into Mihawk 6 costs. So six or less. So, and then that's a blocker. And then now none of your 4s and 3s can attack me. So Burgess is locked down. We can talk about in Lucci, you're not attacking with your Luccis. You're not getting those chip hits with your Brooks. You're not, stuff like that. So I do think he sneaks up into A tier. I'm not sure where in A tier, but I think Buggy can make some noise.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so Buggy is your hot take. Yep, you already pointed it. My hot take is Julie Urbani.
All right. Uh-oh. Did it freeze on me?
I might have to. Oh.
All right, there she goes. All right, where's she going?
I think she might be B.
B?
We could put her in B.
B tier?
I think B tier is fair.
Okay.
I mean, I was gonna say A. I don't know how many slots we have on A.
I mean, we could readjust it because I mean, as you can see, we have a few leaders that kind of made some noise. Whether
we got a lot of leaders to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
we can readjust it. Safe call it B.
Yeah, because I feel like you still have a great matchup into Black Yellow Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. I understand that some Black Yellows are understanding the matchup a little more, but I still think that the matchup is heavily favored towards Bonnie.
Okay.
I have also been playing against. I've been playing testing against Teach. I think the fact that Odie Jones, regardless, still gets rush.
Right.
So you are still just beating Teach's face in.
Bro.
Just still, you're still knocking them down. The Cavendish, when attacking, effect still
pops off, right? And the carrot.
Yeah, you're still freezing their stuff.
Yeah, you just don't get your own play.
Right, you're putting them on the finger pistol, and the one turn they don't leader effect for whatever reason. Oh, your 10 drop Dofies, your 9 drop Shanks, they're getting super involved.
Super involved, bro.
So I don't think that matchup is as bad as people think.
Okay.
Your 8-cost kid still getting involved too.
Heard. Yeah, 8-cost kid is another card that people were talking about, but I don't leave Green alone. Green needs that card. All right.
Yeah, you need that. Green just dies without that card.
Okay, so Ploofy. Let's talk Ploofy. I think Ploofy stays in B.
Yeah.
I think this can flip flop possibly. It could go there. It did win a pod this past weekend, so that was pretty cool.
I will say that Bonnie is favored into Ploofy though.
Right.
So I don't know.
So and then it doesn't get anything much newer. I think it just changes and moves. I think 7-drop Kid comes back in the deck to be able to pump the leader. And most purple decks, and I think that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, and then it's an effect that you can play against Teach, right?
Yes, 100%.
That's fair. I like that.
The most annoying deck of all time. I just think he's gonna be good, dude. I don't see him falling. He gets some support. He gets Basil Hawkins. He's gonna get the new 8-drop Kid. He gets this event card called Damn Punked, which is a Thunderbolt on legs, and essentially, it's a 4-cost event that lets you look at either your life or your opponent's life and then blow up a 5. So it gets that. That card also has a trigger, which is insane. This deck has the most triggers of any deck you'll ever play in your life. So a nail will be the yellow deck. To play if you want to play yellow, and possibly maybe the new kid, but we'll talk about that after we get through all the older leaders, because then we're gonna squeeze in the newer ones.
So what do we think about Shanks? Shanks with Divine Departure.
Shanks, I think Shanks could be. He's not C. He's either B or A. He is definitely the best red deck.
That's fair.
I think he's the best red deck to play. It's just a matter of which version, right? Because you got Zoo Shanks, sorry, it keeps on moving, I can't lock it, but you got Zoo Shanks, and then you got regular Shanks, right? And Zoo Shanks was performing. I'm not sure how far it got at the event in Dallas, but I did see some at top tables. It actually beat Jantine lost to a Zoo Shanks. And he was playing BY. Yeah, so that like Zushanks is a thing, dude. I haven't played Zushanks yet. I do want to try it. I might have to sleeve that up and test it and go from there because we do need to figure that matchup with Usopp. So I think he's a solid A right now.
Solid A.
Solid A. What do you think about Boa? You have some Boa experience. I have never played this deck. I've only played against it. It was always worse Dofi to me.
Yeah, for sure. I would put it. I think C is fair. I would like to say B, but I mean, yeah, I think the Teach matchup is pretty bad. So
okay,
you can put it in C. I think so. Boa's issue is if any deck. Well, you could say Teach. You could say Lucci. If they can curve out and blow up every card you play, because Boa typically plays one card per turn.
Right.
If Black can remove that card on curve, you will lose.
Okay.
You have to have some sort of a board presence to stabilize.
To stabilize.
If they're clearing you every turn, you cannot win. So C is a fair call. I will say, like, man, and you know this as a Dofi player, but that massacre that Anel gives us, with Boa, we give it right back.
Right.
We just destroy Anel. That matchup isn't even close.
That's and that's the one thing I do like. So like maybe this checks this, but I still think consistently this will still be in the B tier.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I would say Boa does check. I think almost every deck in the B tier.
Okay.
When they play Cavendish, talking about Bonnie, when they play Cavendish carry,
yeah,
you just Jozu bounce it.
Yeah, Jozu bounce it, draw a card, or Gravity Blade it.
Gravity Blade. Luffy Taro gets bottom deck by 9-cost Mihawk. So I think that's a pretty good matchup.
Okay.
And then when they play 8-cost Kid, they drop Dofi, you name it, it's the freeze Red Rock, go for it.
All right, and I know one of your teammates on the Car Guys plays Cat. Yeah, do you think Katakuri is still gonna be here in C tier, or will he ever eclipse this guy, or will Anel always be just better?
I think Anel is a better pick as far as like a wide meta, but it is crazy because Katakuri just beats Anel, and that's just always been how it goes.
Right.
Because
Tenmon.
Tenmon just shuts down the leader effect, and Tenmon just always has been stronger than Yamato, 9-cost Yamato, and 10-drop Ace, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I can play both of those in this deck too, so which is actually pretty good. Reiju, I think Reiju is gonna be here in C. I put Reiju here because it could become the premier aggro deck to play. I know I don't have Bello Betty on this list, but Bello Betty is a super high roll deck in my opinion, and I think that with the ability to draw as much as Reiju does, you have a better chance of seeing your pieces with Reiju than you do Bello.
For sure, yeah. Those two decks are basically like all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes, baby. I'm gonna talk about. Let's talk about this. You played this at locals last night. Where does your boy RP Luffy fall?
I'm gonna have to put it in C right now.
Okay.
Why? Because the matchup against Teach is almost unplayable.
Oh wow.
I would say almost every single card in that deck is unplayable.
Okay. So is there?
You have almost no chance.
Is there a world where we are able to fix this to where we don't have on plays and we have more activate mains? Is there a world that this happens?
It's just that the cards in both purple and red are mainly on play. If you want to go to an extremely rush build, rush cards in red and then events in purple that just ramp you. Possible.
Okay.
I feel like sure you can build a deck that will like counter Teach, but I don't know if that build will be good against everything else, right?
Gotcha. I mean that makes sense. I can definitely see that. I can see that.
It's the same thing. If you're chaining big bodies and you're playing against Black Yellow Luffy and they have the Shirahoshi tech, yeah, it's a rough time. They'll just blow up everything.
Gotcha. So it looks like we have about 3 more leaders that are not new to talk about. We can real quick Vegapunk. I think Vegapunk is just gonna not that. I think Vegapunk is just gonna be probably the back end of C or maybe even D tier. I'm not gonna say he's trash. I'm just gonna say you have to be a certain type of player to play Vegapunk, right?
Yeah.
And I think Vegapunk's not gonna really. It's hard to say where it can make noise, but it can't. The leader can't attack, but it can spam 5/6s into teach. So there is a world where this guy does do something, but he doesn't get any more support till EBO2.
Right. I mean, yeah. I feel like for me, it definitely says something if I'm steamrolling that deck with Doki.
Right.
So that should be a bad matchup, and I in my experience, I haven't lost to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's the weakest version of Katakuri and NL.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll leave him here. We'll leave him here. Or actually, we'll put him in D tier and call it D tier waiting room.
Yeah, I actually like that. That's a fair assessment.
All right. Actually, should kill waiting room. All right. So next we have your pride and joy, your pet deck, Black Purple, aka Peanut Butter Luffy.
I would put it in the waiting room too.
He's in the waiting room. Okay.
For sure, yeah. I would say I've been playing it, and it does really well, or it does really bad.
Right.
It's just missing that piece of consistency because
it's too Is it too combo heavy?
It's too combo heavy, and you need to see everything at the right time. You can absolutely curse stomp anything if you see everything in order. You have to go ramp Zoro into 5-cost Sanji, into 7-cost Sanji, into Gecko. And in that process, you have to discard the Frankie so you can play it off Gecko.
Okay.
If you miss one of those, you're hella down.
Hella down.
And it's like, again, we run Gum Gum Giant, and you're running so many non-counters, so many bricks, like 9-cost Kaido, Ice Age, 9-cost Luffy, Gecko, Top Knot. So there's just many times where you're looking for counter, and you Gum Gum Giant, and you draw 2 bricks, and you lose. So I think just with a little more consistency, that deck will be unstoppable.
Okay, I can agree with that. I'm gonna talk about my pride and joy, my pet deck, Lim. I think Lim's common here. And
really,
yeah, I think Lim's gonna be B tier. It did top a ton in OP10 over there once it got its new support, because it's getting a lot of new cards that actually make the deck a lot better. It's getting a Anel that's a 5/6. All these cards are pretty much 5/6. Anel, draw 3, trash 2, so it helps you cycle. It gets a Newgate that's a 5/6, and on play you rest a 3 cost or less, and then KO a 2 cost or less rested. You also get a Mihawk that untaps an Odyssey card to attack with. You get one of the most important turn 1 plays in the deck, which is the 1-drop Limb that helps protect some of your board as well as untap any Odyssey character. Then we just got the new promo audio 2K counter. We got the 2 cost blocker. It's got so many more tools, and this deck is arguably the best Zoro deck to play 9-drop Zoro in, or it's the second best kid deck to play in. And I'll tell you what the new best kid deck is here in a short. But I just think it gains more consistency, and it's just a matter of time before it actually does something here. It ramps at no cost, but to pay 3. Yes, all your cards come tapped, but you have more ways to untap your cards now. And it's just I think it's a matter of time. It actually did pretty well over the weekend. I didn't find out what its final placing was, but into round 6 it was 5-0, and then I think it lost on stream to BY. So I'm gonna put it at the back of B tier for sure right now, because I think I'm gonna be too fast for Kata. I think I'm gonna be too fast. Everything that's in C tier, I think I might just be too fast for it, because I ramp so much. Now granted, Reiju does have the 7-drop Ichijis, but it's more or less like, hey, I get to ramp, I'm playing blockers, I have a 9-cost Zoro, deal with my 9-cost Zoro. You know what I'm saying? So I think Lim has the possibility to put itself on the map once we get OP10. Okay. The next deck that I'll talk about, because we get this deck in release, is the new starter deck Luffy here. The starter deck Luffy is I don't know where it's gonna be. I'm gonna say waiting room. I don't know if it's missing anything, but it can be very aggressive because of it's like a few new cards that it gets. I played it into Usopp. You saw me play it into Usopp when we were doing our Usopp testing. What do you think about the deck?
I think it's another all gas no brakes. I mean, even when I was playing it with Usopp, I won't even credit myself and say I know what I'm doing with the deck.
Mm-hmm.
We had just put the deck together and just started going at it.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, from what I saw, you just had a lot of non-counters.
Yeah.
I mean, you left 2 Dawn up, and I'm over here calculating double radical beam, and you just had 2 bricks in hand instead.
Yeah. I mean, but if I had it though, I win the game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it's like you have to leave the bluff.
There's a lot of counter. Yeah. There's not a lot of counter in it, and I feel like, you know, a lot of other decks are just doing more consistent things that can just get it out.
Right, and I do think that you'll be able to use these red tools in other red decks.
Exactly. Like Shanks will utilize one of those pieces.
I think Shanks will utilize 2 of those pieces. I think Shanks will utilize the Zoro. It doesn't have to make it rush. It just could just play it for 4 and then cheat out a 5/6 or really any card that has 6,000 power or less. So if you have the Yasop in hand, let's say you went second and then they KO'd it, you play the Yasop, and now you're a 6k for 2 turns. So, which is crazy because it says to the end of your opponent's next turn, so it wouldn't count the turn that it's played if you played on your opponent's turn. And then you get the 5/6 rush Luffy that gives a Dawn to a character or leader. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I think he's in a waiting room. It can be very, very aggressive though, and if you see all your aggression pieces on curve, it just goes nuts.
Yeah, I can agree with that. For sure.
All right, what do we want to get the 2 decks that are not as popular?
Yeah, we can get those out the way.
All right, Sugar in a waiting room and Caesar in a waiting room.
For sure, yeah. I don't really see, again, kind of like we're talking about, just to like sum it in short. I feel like their best plays are just outdone by what we have so far already.
Right. I personally think that Caesar's a worse Marco. It's cool. The Caesar effect is for 2 Dawn, bounce a punk hazard, KO of 4,000 power or less. So like if you see your Monet, I think you just cooking, because now Monet is gonna come down for 2. You tap it, you minus something by 1, and then you put the two rested Dawn to your leader from the Monet effect. Then you swing with leader for 7, bounce Monet, and then you just rinse and repeat every turn, right? So you're always blowing something up. So I think that's cool, being able to swing 7, but I just think Marco does this better because you get to cycle through your deck and find the cards you need.
Right. For sure.
I haven't played Sugar. I have seen gameplay of Sugar, and I think Sugar runs too many events because it's relying on in order to ramp, your opponent needs to attack you, and then if the early game, if your opponent just sets up board and don't attack and just starves you, you kind of like become this red purple deck that doesn't really do anything, and then you're just sitting holding these event cards in your hand, and until you really get like your 8 drop Dofi down into your 5 drop Rosinante, it's not like you're really doing much with the deck. I think these 2 are definitely some great locals picks. I would love to play around with these, and if I can secure my invite here in Peoria, because I'm planning on going to Peoria, I will dabble into something that's not meta and see if I can take it the distance. And
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, I hope you do well in Peoria for sure.
yeah, we got to cook. We got a month, so we'll see. All right, now we know let's talk. You want to talk Usopp first, since that's the one we done.
I think we're most comfortable with it. Yeah.
All right, where is Usopp going?
I think it's going at either the back of A or top of B.
back of A or top of B? I'm gonna say top of B because my next deck of choice beats it, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, depending on the build. Let's put it that way. Depending on the build, but in my testing, I haven't beat that particular deck we'll talk about next. But Usopp seems like it can be god tier, no pun intended, god Usopp. Because the turns where you just see Leo stage into Zoro Cavendish, and then Zoro or Cavendish, then you go Rebecca Kiros Zoro Cavendish or something like that. Like it just seems really good, dog. And the thing that we've come to the conclusion is that the deck doesn't have enough minus and removal, in a sense. So we're manipulating those cards to figure out what's the play to go in there, because there's a lot of good Dressrosa cards. We're trying Suleiman, we're trying Olympus, we're trying all the Bakers, whether it's Rebecca, Sabo, things of that nature, and just trying to figure out what's the best way to go about this. Being a blue-black leader, which is the best combination of colors in the game, is just trying to figure it out now, right?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, the deck has a lot of utility, but again, like you said, we're just missing that reduction to make sure that we can get good removal.
Right.
Each
turn, because I feel like if we control that board, brother, there's nothing that we can't do as Usopp, baby. God Usopp. The next deck that I want to talk about is Red Green Smoker. I think Red Green Smoker.
You've definitely been in the tank with this one more than me.
Listen, man, I think this deck goes straight into A tier. And the reason being, this is the best. If you love 8-drop Kid, this is the deck you want to play. And the new Smoker 5-drop is a phenomenal card for green. I think every green deck moving forward, I think Bonnie's gonna adopt this well. Unfortunately, Lim won't be able to, because I mean, granted, Lim could play it, but we don't want to hard cast it for 5 when we can play 5s for 3 with leader ability. But I think, like I said, Bonnie will adapt to it, and then any other green deck that will be in the meta. Red Green Law coming up here in a little bit. I think Uda couldn't benefit from it, being able to go first, and on 5 I can go play Smoker effect, untap a Dawn, put a Dawn on leader, swing 6, draw a card. So, and then now I have a 5/7 banish every turn. So I think that this deck is phenomenal. On 8 Dawn, I can go 8-drop Kid if Smoker's on board. I can use leader ability and Smoker, untap 3, put a Dawn on Kid, rest Kid, play 3-drop Tashigi, and then tap 2 for Rosinante. Now my board's untouchable. So it does so much, and this could definitely be a contender moving forward. Red could put Red Green back on the map. I know Red Green Law was one of the best decks for a very long time, and we haven't had a Red Green deck to do well. And this deck won Asia's finals to take his invite to Worlds. So who knows? Well, it'll be OP09 format for Worlds, correct? Yeah. So we won't get to see the shine there, but we get these new toys within the next couple of weeks when the full release is out. And if you can pull it through in pre-release, you definitely can take this deck to its new heights. So I am curious to see where it goes, because man, it does so much, man. I have it proxied out. What's the name of the card? Beckman's good in the deck. You got Hody Jones in the deck. The deck's it cooks, man. I think this deck can be really strong. I don't know where it's gonna fall in A tier yet. I'm just putting it at the back of A tier for now, because I have to test it into all the other matchups. But I do feel like it can get there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so I haven't played these decks yet. Yellow Kid, where's Yellow Kid going?
Okay, Yellow Kid, I would probably put it at the back of B tier.
Back of B? Okay. You think it's
I think it's really good, actually. I've played against it on Sim, and I've seen its strengths, I've seen its weaknesses.
Okay.
You have the 4-cost Basil Hawkins, and you can make it a blocker.
Right.
You can make it a blocker, and now if your opponent chooses to swing at you, you can just block, and they burn a life.
Right. Yeah.
And then, yeah, you have access to 7-cost Law, you gain a life, and then you can reveal that life again, put it face up, now you have a 7/9 blocker.
That's actually pretty good. I want to play this deck. I want to see what it's like.
It's insane, yeah. It's a really annoying deck, but granted, when I was playing against it, I was playing Bonnie, and you really just have to, if they have a face-up life, you have to starve them, not attack, and force them to have some sort of life gain or some sort of awakener who grab that life so that they can turn their life around again. Because if they can't, now they have no blockers, and you can either go for board or you can just go for life all in one turn.
Heard. I think that's
it's definitely difficult, but I think that if you don't know how to play against this deck will give you a problem.
Okay, I can see that because it does have, like you said, it has some really good tools coming. Because I know that 8-drop kid's pretty good too. So, and it also gets that same access that I feel like it's a combination between a nail and Katakuri. It's like a fused baby of those two, in a sense. Being
sure, you're burning life, you're gaining life, and
you're producing big bodies.
You're developing blockers out of nowhere. I mean, that 8-cost kid, you pay 8, play, rest it, your opponent burns a life, and then use leader effect, restand it, and it gets blocker.
That's just insane. All right, now the boy, where does he go? I think he can fall into B tier. I think he's better than Kid. I'm not sure if he's better than any of these decks, so we'll place him in the back of B tier as well. And the only reason why we put the newer decks, except Usopp, because that's the one we have the most experience with, because we even think Usopp can go to A tier. I think that it'll fall here somewhere, but I do think he can make noise. The only issue is no one's cracked this deck yet. And I feel like he's gonna be like every other law leader we've ever had, to the point to where it takes time to figure him out, and then once he's figured out, he's literally becomes the best deck. I'm not sure how well he does into Teach. In the East, I haven't seen him perform too well, but again, we haven't got our hands on it here, and I feel like the West hasn't performed it too well. In the East, which is us, we love Law. Like, every Law leader has been pretty good so far, and I don't see why this wouldn't follow suit. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I have seen some gameplay. I've played against it a little bit, and same thing. I mean, you have access to Cavendish. You can put it on the top. You can put it on the top of your life, play it out, and then you can also have Restand Law, so you can activate, because Cavendish isn't once per turn. So if you can swing Cavendish multiple times, you're restanding multiple Dawn, and you're bringing out a bunch of 5-cost supernovas out of your life. So if Teach doesn't know how to manage the matchup, and they allow you to use leader effect, once you have a combination of 5 costs or more on your board, you can reveal your top life, and if it's a 5-cost supernova, you can play it.
You wanna know what's crazy? You know what supernova you can play in this deck that I don't know if people are playing in this deck?
You can play Power Up Luffy.
Yes, sir. You read my mind. Power Up Luffy, dude, to put in this deck. Now you can try, if you don't feel like there's a life there that you need, you can trash, draw a card, and then probably draw into the card you need to put into your life to be able to use leader ability, which is pretty psyched. I definitely want to try Power Up in this deck.
Yeah, I think it's a really good deck, and again, like we were saying, if you can beat Teach in this format, it's a good deck.
Right.
And I think that if you're just flooding 5 costs from your life and not really having to pay that cost, then you should be in a good position.
Right. So with that being said, guys, Teach is the gatekeeper and is warping our new meta. This is if our ban list gets hit, okay? So it's not saying that, you know, we're going to be the ones to call it, but this is what we think is going to happen. I am curious to see what you guys cook up. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know anything and everything that you guys are doing, as far as like getting ready for the next set. If you care to share, let us know, man. We want to cook up with you, you know. You think this is a good spot for the tier list?
I think this is good. As far as if our hits actually come into play, I think this will be pretty fair.
Fair?
For medical.
Do you think any of this should move?
Like I said, I mean, Usopp can be in the back of A, or it could just stay where it is. I mean, it's really, yeah, I think, yeah, maybe right there. Also looks cool.
Okay, well, we'll leave this here. We'll come back and visit this in another video. Let's go ahead and come back to us. So yeah, this is the I'm Saying podcast, people. And I'm happy that I have my boy Los here with me. You know, my boy Carlos Sarong. You know, I'm saying from the Card Guys, you know, you do your thing. You definitely keep me motivated to play this game more and more because you're always on it. So I plan on joining you and topping more this year. And let's get these Nats invites and get them ready and get grinding. You know what I'm saying? So we can lock in our stamp and put our stamp on going to Worlds. You feel me?
That's cool. That's what we're trying to get.
Do you have any shout outs, sir?
I mean, shout out to my teammates. We were talking about Dallas actually, so you know, shout out my boy Orion Watson, aka Oh It's Legend. He got 3rd place.
Hey, Orion!
Big 3rd place, and also my boy Tyler Lippert, aka Tyler Fusion, got 9th place in his pod as well.
Yes, sir. 2 Peaches got their invites. Actually, 3 Peaches. 3 Peaches. Let's not forget our young Padawan in the Peach group.
Big. You talking about Cat Lay?
Yeah, Cat cooked up with Lucci, bro. She cooked it up. So yeah, okay. Anything else you got?
I mean, not really. I just, again, you know, shout out to One Peach. Shout out to my team, the Card Guys. All of you guys. Just, it's such a good community to play in, and you know, I've been playing, or we've been playing for about 2 to 3 years now.
Yep.
So,
we got the in-house coming up. Can't wait. 3v3.
Yes, sir. So I mean, yeah, it's just a good community keeping us motivated, and just we're more competitive now as a group.
100%.
So having all those people with us, you know, we're gonna get to the top one day together. I'm looking forward to it.
One Peach Worlds, baby. One Peach Worlds. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you having you on. I got a couple shout outs myself. I want to shout out my boy Luffy TCG TV. My boy Luffy helped me set this podcast up. He's giving me so much knowledge. He's so cool. He streams every night, just about. I'll have his Discord in the description along with his Twitch. Definitely show him some love. I also want to again shout out One Peach. He also hosts tournaments too. Luffy does host tournaments weekly. I believe he's going to have they're all webcam, and normally they're on Mondays. They're going to be box tournaments. I think he's going to do box tournament back to back Mondays, and then rumor has it he's going to do a case tournament. So I know you're going to want in on that. So so that's going to be a webcam. I'll have those details as they come. I'll talk about that more and more because Luffy is the GOAT. He's such a cool guy, so definitely wanted to give him his flowers for helping me get this set up and starting my podcast with my boy Los. So I'm saying we here. All right, if anybody got a problem with y'all, man, tell them to kiss your ears, because that's what I do. I'm out of here. Peace, love, happiness. Gone.
Peace.